What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, I wanted to talk about the stepchild of a token for the Splinterlands economy, which are vouchers. And just kind of taking a peek ahead broadly at what we can expect this year, and again, to just give a general overview and get your feedback on it. So as it stands right now, we have roughly 7.2 million vouchers that are currently in circulation. Now, the emission rate is 40,000 per day. That's 20,000 from nodes and 20,000 from staked SPS. There's been some talk from Aggie about potentially changing that. I don't know if that will actually happen. Again, since it is voucher related, it would go under the jurisdiction of the DAO, which means we would have to, the SPS stakeholders would have to vote on it. But for the purposes of this exercise, I just went ahead and assumed we're going to stay at 40,000 for at least the remainder of the year, which again, I did the math already. So you got 7.2 million right now. Okay. And I'm recording this middle of January, 2023. By the middle of the year, we would have, in addition, including what we already have right now with 7.2 million, we will have roughly 14 million vouchers that would have been printed by, we'll call it end of June, early July. And by the end of the year, that will actually jump up to roughly 21 million. Again, this is just following the same math, 40,000 vouchers per day over the next 11 and a half months, and then adding in what we have here, which is the 7.2 million. So we'll be at 14 million roughly by the middle of the year, and then 21 million 14 million by the middle of the year, and then 21 million by the end of the year. So where does that leave things? And where are the potential sinks that will be coming in? Well, we have DECB, but I want to circle back to that after we've talked about some of the other things that are at least going to be here within the first 6 months of the year. So I am actually not going to include Rebellion because that would be in Q3, and we'll leave Q3 maybe for a separate video. We'll leave the second half of the year for a separate video, but I just wanted to give you that context of where we would be by the middle of the year, 14 million, and then end of the year, 21 million. So over the next 6 months, what are the areas in which there are, significant sinks? Well, from a pack sale perspective, I think Chaos Legion is pretty much done, right? We're just burning a majority of the supply that's left. The only time that vouchers would be used, if anybody is making a major purchase on them, and using it for bonus packs. But unless we have some kind of guild or entity or whatever VC that wants to come in and clean out the packs, I think the holiday sale was the last time we're going to see any significant movement of that, and we are just going to go all the way through March 31st and burn. Again, that is the assumption for the purposes of this video. So we'll just say 0 vouchers used for that. Now, Rift Watchers and Tower Defense, if you remember, each of these require a voucher in order to be purchased. And we have roughly 2 million Rift Watcher packs remaining. And I'm just going to round down here to say roughly 1.5 million Tower Defense packs remaining. So those two combined are 3.5 million. And going to Tower Defense real quick, in the initial post for the Tower Defense pack sale, both the pre-sale and then the general sale, they mentioned that there would not be any more packs on sale. They didn't say they'd be burned, but they didn't say there would be any more packs for sale on the market or through their store after July 1st. So that is a nice kind of hard cutoff. And I would like to assume that if they get the game out, especially if the alpha is going to be dropping within the next couple of weeks here, by the end of the month, early February, and the game actually launches, we could see some potential momentum for that. So that's why I want to take that 1.5 million as a potential, fully utilized sink. Rift Watchers, on the other hand, this doesn't have an end date, but call me optimistic. I do believe that the community or the team or the economy are going to figure some things out in order to encourage sales. And again, it's not really a prediction. I'm just being optimistic. I would like to think that Rift Watchers would sell out before the half point of the year. So we're talking by June 30th. And so again, there's several paths to that, whether it is the team or community proposing, some kind of solution to swap it for DEC, or if the market starts to pick up and we see Bitcoin kind of flirting with 21K today, if the market starts to pick up and SPS starts rising in value, you could see more people going in and buying the packs with their SPS, right? So again, I am being probably a little bit more optimistic on Rift Watchers than I am Tower Defense, but I'd like to include that 3.5 million out of the 14 million. So this is all to say, by the time we get to Rebellion, that would leave us with roughly 10.5 million vouchers. Now, here's the interesting thing. With DECB, with DECB, if we were to burn all vouchers and no DEC, but we just want to clean out all of the vouchers that we have in stock, there's not enough vouchers, right? We could, for 2 billion DECB, we could actually burn, I believe it's 10 million vouchers. And again, we're sitting on 7.2 million. And obviously DECB is hopefully going to get launched by the end of the month, maybe early next month, and then run for 60 days. So that would be at the end of Q1, essentially. But even by that point, by that point, we might be getting close to 10 million. So you could see where everything could get eaten up from a voucher perspective, but I don't believe it's going to all be vouchers. So what are the other areas in which we could potentially have some more voucher sinks? Well, there's two that are unknown at this time, but are on the roadmap. One is a little bit more defined than the others, or at least we can have a template for it. And that is the 2 promo cards, right? They want to do these quarterly promo cards. And if I use Lux Vega as a baseline or a template, right? It may not always be that way. Hopefully they do something that will offer, commons or, nothing that's like $1,000 card essentially. But if we use the template for Lux Vega, or you can even go back to Waka, but I want to use Lux Vega specifically for the prices. It was 1 million DEC, but you could get a discount on up to half of that for using 500 vouchers. So 500 vouchers for one promo is with 1,000 cards is 500,000. For 2 of those, Q1 and Q2, which I'd like to think if they're trying to get a promo out by the end of Q1, right? Then the next one would come by the end of Q2. So falling within that first 6 months of the year time frame, that will be another million vouchers there. And then finally, and this is the one I have no idea how to measure at all, guild alliances. So if guild alliances do come out in Q2, as is on the roadmap, I don't know if that's going to be DEC. I don't know if it's going to be vouchers. I don't know if it's going to be a mix of both. It seems like it probably is still very much up in the air. So looking back at all of these things, between now and the middle of the year, now and we'll just say July 1st, there's actually enough to burn all of the vouchers so that when Rebellion comes out, and let's say Rebellion comes out sometime in early July, or at least the pre-sale for it comes out, well, could get interesting. Vouchers actually could be very short in supply. Now, if I'm already thinking about that and I want to get in on the pre-sale, or, not just me, but anybody who wants to get on the pre-sale, you might think to yourself, oh, vouchers are what? Less than 10 cents right now. They'll probably be a little bit more before a major expansion like Rebellion. So maybe I don't spend my vouchers right now. Maybe I hang on to it. Well, that also starts to constrict the supply, right? Because if I'm buying or receiving vouchers now and saying, well, I want to make sure that I'm holding on to some for Rebellion, well, that reduces the 14 million. Well, it doesn't reduce the 14 million, but it allocates some of that 14 million supply out of circulation because people are just mentally preparing themselves for Rebellion and making sure that no matter what happens, I want to have X or Y amount of vouchers that I'm holding. So again, it reduces the circulating supply from that 14 million, which will be printed. So where am I going with all this? I don't know, actually. I was just running through the numbers and I wanted to share them with you. So again, this is not a price prediction. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy vouchers. I was just trying to look and see, well, what are the upcoming syncs, right? The known quantities, the unknown quantities, the estimatable quantities that we have that are coming up. And I was surprised to see that, again, DECB, this is why I think DECB is going to be very, very important, whether it is for vouchers or DEC. Now, obviously, the whole point of DECB is to burn DEC, right? That was the main thing that we were all hoping for, because we want to get a DEC back up to par. And a lot of the people who are against DECB point to vouchers as one of the major areas. But again, I'd like to point to the promo cards as potential discounts, right? And this is kind of what convinced me when Matt talked about this in the town hall, where the promo cards, for example, were sold for 1 million DEC, but you could save up to 500,000 DEC by using vouchers instead, which were valuable at the time because the vouchers were selling for way less than $1, which is what the discount they were giving. So, that could get interesting, especially if these promo cards end up being something good or something collectible or a collaboration with, somebody famous or somebody that, people have an affinity, some kind of affinity towards. Either way, the DECB I think is going to be clutch, because I am trying to look at it as a whole ecosystem thing. I can understand people who are saying that vouchers are a distraction for DEC because of the fact that they're included in DECB. I get it. But if it helps to fix one side of the economy, which is vouchers, right, to a certain extent, my hope is that there will be other significant DEC syncs in place, whether that is from, whether that is from these promo cards, whether it's from guild alliances, whatever the case is. And I maintain that a sense of optimism that I think Rebellion is going to save everything, no matter what. Like, I actually don't believe we need to wait until a bull run to get DEC back up to peg. Now, that doesn't mean DEC is always going to stay at peg, because keep in mind that DEC is not, or that DEC is not being burned. It is company revenue, right? But just imagine how much DEC would be used for, for like 500,000 packs or 1 million packs sold at 4,000 DEC, if that's what they end up doing, right? And again, we don't know any details about Rebellion. We don't know the time frame for Rebellion, but my hope is that it would be early Q3, or at least, no later than like middle of Q3 if needed. So either way, I'm talking about DEC too much. Taking it back to vouchers, I think that DECB, if it does burn a lot of vouchers, can create a significant constraint on the supply. And if we know that there are other utilizations coming up, right, such as these promo cards, which they would probably end up being used, guild alliances, we don't really know much, these pack sales, right? So I'm actually quite excited for tower defense. Again, we don't know when the launch of that will be, but in reading through the post again, it's just like, well, if they already said they're not going to sell packs beyond July 1st, that means the game has to come out significantly before, right? Because if the game came out, well, here's the question then. And it's like, if the game came out significantly later and all of a sudden you only have packs on sale like for 2-3 months after after it comes out, right? That just doesn't make sense to me. But maybe they could play with the wording on there and be like, well, we're gonna have packs for blah blah blah, or we'll be giving them away, or whatever the case is. I'm bullish on tower defense. I'm hopeful that we get to hear something about it soon. But taking this once again back to vouchers, I still think that there are a good amount of syncs, not enough without DECB, but this is why I think the DECB can be beneficial regardless of what side it's played. And if it is successful in pushing up the value of one or both tokens, as I've said before, I would love for there to be more DECB issued out. But that would come down to a DAO vote, I'm sure. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are there any syncs that I missed? Are my numbers off for any reason? Let me know what you're thinking about this. If you are bullish, bearish, optimistic, pessimistic, however it is, would love to hear from you. That's all I got. Have an amazing rest of your day. We'll catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.